Hare Krishna, everyone. Welcome back to the daily readings of Srila Prabhupada's books. The only refuge left in a world turned upside down by the nefarious activities of leaders of human society, which are described in Srimad Bhagavatam, 5,000 years ago, written, that they would become rogues and plunderers of the people. And there's so much confusion now, so many conspiracy theories, so many different opposing, conflicting, suspicious activities going on all over the world. And yet, we have the absolute truth given to us by Sri Krishna himself, by Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu himself, through Srila Prabhupada's major works, all of his works, but particularly his major works, where the absolute truth is spelled out clearly, where we came from, how it happened, why it happened, what the purpose of all of it is. And in Prabhupada's purports, he explains to us the solutions to all of our problems, both collectively and individually. So it's ironic, at the same time tragic, that so few human beings are taking a serious interest in hearing these books, reading these books, trying to understand these books, which will bring us to the spiritual platform where we can actually stay peaceful even among, in the midst of all the turmoil. So welcome back. I know I've been a little unsteady since I've had this surgery, but you know me, my heart is completely dedicated to Srila Prabhupada's books and to trying to inspiring as many people as possible to read them, try to understand them, and put them into practice in both our internal and external world on a day-to-day basis. This is the solution. So I'm so grateful to be here tonight and every night, to be with you as long as I'm physically able to. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur had this to say about the book that we're reading now, Sri Caitanya-caritämrta. He said, in due course, Mahapralaya, devastating floods, will inundate the entire universe. If you attempt to survive by swimming in that deluge, then do not neglect to take hold of Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, and Sri Caitanya-caritämrta. Or, if you cannot hold all three, then release Bhagavad Gita. If necessary, you may also relinquish Srimad Bhagavatam. But under no circumstances release your hold on Sri Caitanya-caritämrta, for if this one book remains, then the flood can do no actual damage, because after it has subsided, the message of Shastra can be revived from Sri Caitanya-caritämrta alone, it being the essence of all Shastra. Jai Sri Caitanya-caritämrta ki Jai. Jai Jai Sri Caitanya Jaya Nityananda. Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jaya Jaya Sri Caitanya Jaya Nityananda. Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jaya Jaya Sri Caitanya Jaya Nityananda. Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. So, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has finally escaped the tricks of his loving devotees, and now he's headed to Vrindavan. Lord Nityananda convinced him to take one young new man, Brahmana, with him to help him, Balabhadra Bhattacharya. And now they're traveling through the Jarikhanda forest and other places on their way to Vrindavan. We're beginning with text 61 in the 17th chapter. The Lord travels to Vrindavan. Balabhadra Bhattacharya used to cook all kinds of vegetables gathered from the forest. And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was very pleased to accept these preparations. 62 and 63. Balabhadra Bhattacharya used to keep a stock of food grain that would last from 2 to 4 days. Where there were no people, he would cook the grain and prepare vegetables, spinach, roots, and fruits collected from the forest. Text 64. The Lord was always very happy to eat these forest vegetables, and he was even happier when he had an opportunity to stay in a solitary place. That reminds us of the Bhagavad Gita verse in the 13th chapter, verses 8 to 12, where Krishna delineates the items that constitute knowledge, that comprise real knowledge. And one of them is the tendency to stay in a solitary place. So Lord Chaitanya, although he wasn't always in a solitary place, he had a tendency to like to be in a solitary place. So this is knowledge, even though we may live in cities and we may live in communities and we may live in huge, in the modern Western developed countries, still, it is in the heart of a devotee. He likes to live in a solitary place. Text 65. This is knowledge. Balabhadra Bhattacharya was so affectionate to the Lord that he was rendering service just like a menial servant. His assistant, Brahmana, carried the water pot and garments. Text 66. The Lord used to bathe 3 times a day in the warm water of the waterfalls. He also used to heat himself morning and evening with the fire made with the limitless wood. 67. While traveling in this secluded forest and feeling very happy, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu made the following statement. 68. My dear Bhattacharya, I have traveled very far through the forest, and I have not even slightly received any trouble. Text 69. Krishna is very merciful, especially to me. He has shown his mercy by bringing me on this path through the forest. Thus he has given me great pleasure. Text 70. Before this, I decided to go to Vrindavan and on the way see my mother, the river Ganges, and other devotees once again. 71. I thought that once again I would see and meet all the devotees and take them with me to Vrindavan. Thus I went to Bengal, and I was very happy to see my mother, the river Ganges, and the devotees. However, when I started for Vrindavan, many thousands and millions of people gathered and began to go with me. In this way I was going to Vrindavan with a big crowd, but through the mouth of Sanatan, Krishna taught me a lesson. Thus, by making some impediment, he has brought me to Vrindavan on the path through the forests. Such a deep instruction. Even the Supreme Personality of Godhead listens to the words of his devotees. Changed his mind. even though he's God and knows everything, and is his right to do whatever he wants. What to speak of us? So we should listen carefully to Krishna speaking to us through the devotees and mold our lives accordingly. Text 75. Krishna is an ocean of mercy. He is especially merciful to the poor and fallen. Without his mercy, there is no possibility of happiness. 76. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu then embraced Balabhadra Bhattacharya and told him, "It is only by your kindness that I am now so happy." Text 77. Balabhadra Bhattacharya replied, "My dear Lord, you are Krishna himself, and therefore you are merciful. I am a fallen living entity, but you have bestowed a great favor upon me." Text 78. "Sir, I am most fallen, yet you have brought me with you. Showing great mercy, you have accepted food prepared by me." "You have made me your carrier, Garuda, although I am no better than a condemned crow. Thus you are the independent personality of Godhead, the original Lord." The Supreme Personality of Godhead has the form of Satchidananda Vigraha, transcendental bliss, knowledge, and eternity. I offer my respectful obeisances unto him who turns the dumb into eloquent speakers and enables the lame to cross mountains. Such is the mercy of the Lord. Mukham karadi vachalam, pangum langayate girim, yat kripa tamaham bande, paramananda madhavam. This is a quotation from the Bhavarta Dipika commentary on Srimad Bhagavatam 1.1.1. Text 81. In this way, Balabhadra Bhattacharya offered his prayers to the Lord. By rendering service unto him in ecstatic love, he pacified the Lord's mind. Text 82. Finally, the Lord arrived with great happiness at the holy place called Kashi. There he took his bath in the bathing ghat known as Manikarnika. Purport. Kashi is another name for Varanasi, Benares. It has been a place of pilgrimage since time immemorial. Two rivers named Asi and Varuna merge there. Manikarnika is famous because, according to the opinion of great personalities, a bejeweled earring fell there from the ear of Lord Vishnu. According to some, it fell from the ear of Lord Shiva. The word mani means jewel, and karnika means from the ear. According to some, Lord Vishwanath is the great physician who cures the disease of material existence by delivering a person through the ear, which receives the vibration of the holy name of Lord Rama. Because of this, this holy name is called Manikarnika. It is said that there is no better place than where the river Ganges flows, and the bathing ghat, known as Manikarnika, is especially sanctified because it is very dear to Lord Vishwanath. In Kashi Khanda, it is said, Sangsari Chintamanir Atra Jasmat Tarakam Sajjana Karnikayam Shivo Bitete Sahasanta Kale Tadgiyate Sao Manikarniketi Mukti Lakshmi Mahapita Manish Tach Charanabjayo Karnikayam Tatak Prahuryam Jana Manikarnikam. According to this passage from the Kashi Kanda, one who gives up his body at Manikarnika is liberated simply by remembering Lord Shiva's name. Text 83. At that time, Tapan Mishra was taking his bath in the Ganges, and he was astonished to see the Lord there. Text 84. Tapan Mishra then began to think, I have heard that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has accepted the renounced order. Thinking this, Tapan Mishra became very jubilant within his heart. Text 85. He then clasped the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and began to cry. The Lord raised him up and embraced him. Text 86. Tapan Mishra then took Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to visit the temple of Vishweshwar. Coming from there, he saw the lotus feet of Lord Bindu Madhava. Purport. The Bindu Madhava temple is the oldest Vishnu temple in Varanasi. At present, this temple is known as Vaini Madhava, and it is situated on the banks of the Ganges. Formerly, 5 rivers converged there, and they were named Dutapapa, Kirana, Saraswati, Ganga, and Yamuna. Now only the river Ganges is visible. The old temple of Bindu Madhava, which was visited by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, was later dismantled by Aurangzeb, the great Hindu-hating emperor of the Mughal dynasty. In the place of this temple, he constructed a big masjid, or mosque. Later, another temple was constructed by the side of the mosque, and this temple is still existing. In the temple of Bindu Madhava, there are deities of 4-handed Narayana and the goddess Lakshmi. In front of these deities is a column of Sri Garuda, and along the side are deities of Lord Rama, Sita, Lakshman, and Sri Hanumanji. In the province of Maharashtra is a state known as Satara. During the time of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, the native prince belonged to the Vaishnava cult. Being a Brahmana, he took charge of worshipping the deity. He was known as Srimanta Balaseb Panta Maharaj. The state still bears the expenditure for temple maintenance. The first king in this dynasty to take charge of worship in the temple 200 years ago was Maharaj Jagat Jivana Rao Sahib. Text 87. With great pleasure, Tapan Mishra brought Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to his home and rendered service unto him. Indeed, he began to dance, waving his cloth. Text 88. He washed the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and afterwards he and his whole family drank the wash water. He also worshipped Balabhadra Bhattacharya and showed him respect. Text 89. Tapan Mishra invited Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to take lunch at his home, and he had Balabhadra Bhattacharya cook. Purport. While at Varanasi, Benares, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu stayed at the house of Tapan Mishra. Near Tapan Mishra's house was a bathing ghat known as Panchanadi Ghat. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu used to take his bath daily at this ghat, and he used to see the temple of Bindu Madhava. Then he would take his lunch at Tapan Mishra's house. Near the Bindu Madhava temple is a big banyan tree, and it is said that after eating, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu used to rest beneath the tree. That banyan tree is still known today as Caitanya Vata. gradually, due to changes in language, the name became Yatanavata. The local people still call that place Yatanavata. At present, beside a lane, there is a tomb of Balabhacharya, but there is no sign that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ever lived there. Balabhacharya was also known as Mahaprabhu among his disciples. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu probably lived at Yatanavat, but there is no sign of Chandrasekhar's or Tapan Mishra's house, nor is there any sign of the Mayavadi sannyasi Prakashananda Saraswati, with whom Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu discussed the Vedanta Sutra. A little distance from Yatanavata is a temple of Gora Nityananda, established by Shashi Bhushana Niyogi Mahashaya of Calcutta. During the time of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, this temple was managed by the mother-in-law of Shashi Bhushana and his brother-in-law, Narayana Chandra Ghosh. Text 90. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took his rest after lunch, the son of Tapan Mishra, named Raghu, used to massage his legs. Oh, this is Raghunath Bhattu. Text 91. The remnants of food left by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu were taken by the whole family of Tapan Mishra. When news spread that the Lord had come, Chandrasekhar came to see him. Text 92. Chandrasekhar happened to be a friend of Tapan Mishra's, and he was long known to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as his servant. He was a physician by caste, and by profession he was a clerk. At the time he was living at Varanasi. When Chandrasekhar came there, he fell down before the lotus feet of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and began to cry. The Lord, standing up, embraced him out of his causeless mercy. Text 94. Chandrasekhar said, "My dear Lord, you have bestowed your causeless mercy upon me because I am your old servant. Indeed, you have come here personally to give me your audience." 95. Due to my past deeds, I am residing at Varanasi, but here I do not hear anything but the words Maya and Brahman. Purport. The word prarabdhe, past deeds, is important in this verse. Since Chandrasekhar was a devotee, he was always eager to hear about Krishna and his transcendental pastimes. Most of the inhabitants of Benares were and are impersonalists, worshippers of Lord Shiva, and followers of the Panchopasana method. The impersonalists imagine some form of the impersonal Brahman, and to facilitate meditation, they concentrate upon the forms of Vishnu, Shiva, Ganesh, Surya, and goddess Durga. Actually, these Panchopasakas are not devotees of anyone. As it is said, to be a servant of everyone is to be a servant of no one. Varanasi or Kashi is the chief holy place of pilgrimage for impersonalists, and it is not at all suitable for devotees. A Vaishnava likes to live in a Vishnu Tirtha, a place where Lord Vishnu's temples are present. In Varanasi, there are many hundreds and thousands of Lord Shiva's temples, or Panchopasaka temples. Consequently, Chandrasekhar expressed great unhappiness as he informed Lord Chaitanya that he was obliged to live at Benares due to his past misdeeds. As said in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Durjat yadambakam papam yat syat prarabdhameva tat. According to one's past misdeeds, one takes birth on a lower platform. But in the Brahma Samhita 554, it is said, Karmani nir dahati kintu chabakti bhajam. There is no karma attached to the past deeds or misdeeds of one in devotional service. A devotee is not subjected to karma phala, the effective fruit of activity. Karma phala is applicable to karmis, not bhaktas. There are three kinds of devotees: those who are eternally on the transcendental platform, nityasiddha; those who have been elevated to the transcendental platform by the execution of devotional service, sadhana-siddha; and those who are neophytes, advancing toward the perfectional platform, sadhaka. The sadhakas are gradually becoming free from fruitive reaction. The Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu 1.117 describes the symptoms of Bhakti Yoga thus: Kleshagni Shabdada Moksha Lagutha Kritu Durlabha Sandrananda Visheshatma Sri Krishna Karshani Chasa. Devotional service is kleshagni, even for beginners. This means that it reduces or nullifies all kinds of suffering. The word shubhadha indicates that devotional service bestows all good fortune, and the word Krishna akarshani indicates that devotional service gradually attracts Krishna toward the devotee. Consequently, a devotee is not subject to any sinful reaction. In the Bhagavad Gita 1866, Krishna says, Sarva dharman parityajya mamekam sharanam vraja ahang tvam sarva papebhyo moksha yishami ma shuchaha. Abandon all varieties of religion and just surrender unto me. I shall deliver you from all sinful reactions. Do not fear. Thus, a fully surrendered, sincere devotee immediately receives relief from all kinds of sinful reactions. There are three stages of fructification for sinful activity. At one stage, one commits the sinful act. Before that, the seed of this act exists, and before that, there is ignorance, whereby one commits the sin. Suffering is involved in all three stages. However, Krishna is merciful to his devotee, and consequently, he immediately nullifies all three stages: the sin, the seed of sin, and the ignorance that leads one to sin. The Padma Purana confirms this. Aprarabdha palam papam kutam bijam palon mukham kramanaiva priyeta Vishnu bhakti ratatmanam. For a further explanation of this topic, the Nectar of Devotion should be consulted. Text 96. Chandrasekhar continued, there is no talk at Varanasi other than discussions on the 6 philosophical theses. Nonetheless, Tapan Rishi has been very kind to me, for he speaks about topics relating to Lord Krishna. Purport. The 6 philosophical theses are 1. Vaisheshika, propounded by Kanada Rishi. 2. Nyaya, propounded by Gautama Rishi. 3. Yoga, or mysticism, propounded by Patanjali Rishi. 4. The philosophy of Sankhya, propounded by Kapila Rishi. 5. The philosophy of Karma Mimamsa, propounded by Jaimini Rishi. And 6. The philosophy of Brahma Mimamsa, or Vedanta, the ultimate conclusion of the Absolute Truth, Janmadyasya Yataha, propounded by Vedavyas. Actually, Vedanta philosophy is meant for the devotees, because in the Bhagavad Gita 15:15, Lord Krishna says, Vedanta Krit Vedavid Evachaham. I am the compiler of Vedanta, and I am the knower of the Vedas. Vyasadeva is an incarnation of Krishna, and consequently Krishna is the compiler of Vedanta philosophy. Therefore Krishna clearly knows the purport of Vedanta philosophy. As stated in the Bhagavad Gita, whoever hears Vedanta philosophy from Krishna is actually aware of the real meaning of Vedanta. The Mayavadis call themselves Vedantis, Vedantists, but they do not at all understand the purport of Vedanta philosophy. Not being properly educated, people in general think that Vedanta means the Shankarite interpretation. Text 97. My dear Lord, we too think of your lotus feet incessantly. Although you are the omniscient, Supreme Personality of Godhead, you have granted us your audience. Text 98. My Lord, I have heard that you are going to Vrndävana. Please stay here at Varanasi for some days and deliver us, for we are your two servants. Purport. Although Chandrasekhar is an eternal servant of the Lord, he humbly presented himself as fallen, and therefore he requested the Lord to deliver him and Tapan Mishra, his two servants. 99. Tapan Mishra then said, My dear Lord, as long as you stay at Varanasi, please do not accept any invitation other than mine. Text 100. Even though he had not made such a plan, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu remained for 10 days at Varanasi, being obligated by the requests of his two servants. Text 101. At Varanasi there was a Maharashtrian Brahmana who used to come daily to see Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. This Brahmana was simply astonished to see the Lord's personal beauty and ecstatic love for Krishna. When the Brahmanas of Varanasi would invite Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to lunch, the Lord would not accept their invitations. He would reply, I have already been invited somewhere else. Text 103. Every day, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu refused their invitations because he feared associating with Mayavadi sannyasis. Purport. A Vaishnava sannyasi never accepts an invitation from a party who considers Mayavadi sannyasis and Vaishnava sannyasis to be one and the same. In other words, Vaishnava sannyasis do not at all like to associate with Mayavadi sannyasis, to say nothing of eating with them. This principle must be followed by the sannyasis of the Krishna consciousness movement. That is the instruction of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, given by his personal behavior. Text 104. There was a great Mayavadi sannyasi named Prakashananda Saraswati, who used to teach Vedanta philosophy to a great assembly of followers. Purport. Sripad Prakashananda Saraswati was a Mayavadi sannyasi, and his characteristics have been described in Chaitanya Bhagavat, Madhya-kanda, chapter 3. And there's a long Bengali text we'll skip. These are from Chaitanya Bhagavat. Being an impersonalist, Prakashananda Saraswati used to explain the absolute truth as being without hands, legs, mouths, or eyes. In this way, he used to cheat the people by denying the personal form of the Lord. Such a foolish person was Prakashananda Saraswati, whose only business was to sever the limbs of the Lord by proving the Lord impersonal. Although the Lord has form, Prakashananda Saraswati attempted to cut off the hands and legs of the Lord. This is the business of demons. The Vedas state that people who do not accept the Lord's form are rascals. The Vedas state that people who do not accept the Lord's form are rascals. The form of the Lord is factual, for Krishna states in the Bhagavad Gita 15:15, Vedais chasarvair aham eva vedya. When Krishna says aham, he says I am, which means I, the person. He adds the word eva, which is used for conclusive verification. Thus, by studying Vedanta philosophy, one must come to know the Supreme Person. Whoever describes Vedic knowledge as impersonal is a demon. One becomes successful in life by worshipping the form of the Lord. The Mayavadi sannyasis deny the form of the Lord, which delivers all fallen souls. Indeed, the Mayavadi demons try to cut this form to pieces. The personality of Godhead is worshipped by exalted demigods like Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva. The original Mayavadi sannyasi, Shankaracharya, also accepted the fact that the Lord's form is transcendental. Narayanak pado bhyaktad. Narayana, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is beyond the abhyakta, the unmanifested material energy. Abhyaktad andasambhava. This material world is a creation of that unmanifested material energy. This statement, by the way, is in the introduction to the Bhagavad Gita commentary by Shankaracharya. Avyaktad andasambhava. This material world is a creation of that unmanifested material energy. However, Narayana has his own eternal form, which is not created by the material energy. Simply by worshipping the form of the Lord, one is purified. However, Mayavadi sannyasis are impersonalist philosophers, and they describe the form of the Lord as Maya, or false. How can one be purified by worshipping something false? Mayavadi philosophers have no sufficient reason for being impersonalists. They blindly follow a principle that cannot be supported by reason or argument. This was the situation with Prakashananda Saraswati, the chief Mayavadi sannyasi of Benares. He was supposed to teach Vedanta philosophy, but he would not accept the form of the Lord. Therefore, he was attacked with leprosy. Nonetheless, he continued to commit sins by describing the Absolute Truth as impersonal. The Absolute Truth, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, always displays pastimes and activities. But Mayavadi sannyasis claim that these activities are false. Some people falsely claim that Prakashananda Saraswati later became known as Prabodhananda Saraswati, but this is not a fact. Prabodhananda Saraswati was the uncle and spiritual master of Gopal Bhatta Goswami. In his Grihastha life, Prabodhananda Saraswati was a resident of Sri Ranga Kshetra, and he belonged to the Vaishnava Ramanuja Sampradaya. It is a mistake to consider Prakashananda Saraswati and Prabodhananda Saraswati the same man. And we will stop there. The readings for tonight. Hare Krishna. So if we have any our diligent Abhaya Das Brahmachari is holding the open mic and is ready to hear or read the reflections and discussions and comments by the assembled sages in Hive through the internet, virtual. Hare Krishna.
First is a comment from Amrita Vilasini Devidasi.
Amrita Vilasini Devidasi. Hare Krishna.
She says, Hare Krishna from Taipei, Taiwan.
Jai from Taipei, Taiwan.
Dear Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Rati Manjari says, Jai Guru Maharaj, the happy hour.
And it's every day, it's not just Friday.
Comment from Sudevi Dasi.
Right, Sudevi Dasi.
She says, Hare Krishna Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. Yes, we are most fortunate to have a taste for hearing the absolute solution to all our miseries. I'm trying to appease my grief for my mother's passing. It's very hard, but I do find some real relief hearing Srila Prabhupada's books and your dedication and caring. Thank you.
Thank you for that reciprocation.
Glories to Srila Prabhupada.
All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Roy Kanu Devi Dasi says, Hare Krishna, dear Guru Maharaj.
Hare Krishna, Roy Kanu. And to Sudevi Dasi, I'd like to say that although it's painful, it is the nature of the material world to become attached to the body and the bodies of our loved ones, and then be forced to depart. So this teaching that Srila Prabhupada has given us has opened the door to the light of transcendental knowledge, where we can understand and realize that the soul never dies, and the forms are just changing in this material world, and nothing belongs to us, no one belongs to us. And in that way we can live in transcendental pleasure, even amidst the comings and goings of loved ones and various forms and activities and places and things that become dear to us. This is the mercy of the Lord, because otherwise we would have no opportunity to come to the right conclusion. Hare Krishna.
From Nayon Kanti.
Nayon Kanti.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Brian Phillips.
Okay, Dr. Phillips.
Yes.
Well, he works in a hospital. He's not a doctor necessarily. But we're waiting for you to give us some enlightening discussion.
He says, Hare Krishna Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
I think he's got a macro that he pushes the button and that comes out. Hare Krishna.
Krishna Premavati Devi Dasi says, Hare Krishna Maharaj and the assembled devotees.
Hare Krishna.
A question from Braj Balaba.
Braj Balaba, Hare Krishna.
He says, can you please explain that the devotee is not subject to past fruitive actions? When one is not fully surrendered, does this apply to them?
Yes, it does. It applies to anyone who is performing devotional service knowingly, even if they're not completely mature. But it's also different relatively. If a devotee is perfectly pure and perfectly elevated and a perfect devotee, then the miseries of material existence have less effect on him. But everyone in the material world has to go through these changes, no matter who you are. But We don't suffer even though we experience the pain. We don't suffer in the same way as a materialist. And that is borne out by the ongoing capacity of a devotee to stay cheerful and undisturbed in his devotional service and practices, even though he is tested by the miseries of material existence. So it's not that the miseries are not there for a pure devotee, but it doesn't disturb him. They don't bother him, meaning that they don't affect his devotional service, his devotional life. And therefore he can be happy under any condition. Hare Krishna.
From Noel Craver. She says, Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Hare Krishna, Noel.
Please accept my respectful obeisances.
Hare Bol.
In 1775, you read, Krishna is an ocean of mercy. He is especially merciful to the poor and fallen. Without his mercy, there is no possibility of happiness. You read this today just as I was tuning in and feeling so grateful that I was shown the path of Krishna consciousness and this transcendental knowledge. Thank you for your service. Hare Krishna.
Well, thank you for engaging me in this service by being there. There's an important connection between the tongue of the speaker and the ears of the hearers. And when the ears of the hearers are open and eager, then it's easier for the speaker to speak deeper things. So I am as dependent on you as you are on me. Hare Krishna.
And then a comment and question from Krishna Premavati.
Haribol.
She says, Mayavadi demons, it is true. They think a God is impersonal and formless, but assumes all kinds of forms so that everyone can worship any of those forms and ultimately merge in the formless whole. Such cheating.
Yes. Their idea is to kill God. That's their business.
But with Srila Prabhupada's mercy, we can understand this Nirvishesha philosophy.
Yes, absolutely.
Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Desha Tarine.
Yes. He wrote that himself, Prabhupada. That pranam mantra he wrote himself. It was so important that we got it right.
Actually, the Nirvisheshas are the so-called followers of Shankaracharya's Sanatana Dharma and the Arya Samaj.
Absolutely.
Because Christianity and Islam are monotheistic religions. Is that correct, Maharaj?
Yeah, but now even in the Christian and the Western religions, the Mayavad philosophy has crept in, because most of their authority is if you keep scratching deep enough, you will come to an impersonal understanding. They can't understand how a person can be the source of everything. They compare themselves to a person. They know they're persons, and they compare themselves to the descriptions. And therefore they conclude that, because it's due to envy, actually, their own envy. Because they couldn't do it, no one could do it, and therefore God must not be a person. It's the most dangerous thoughts that exist in this material world. So thank you very much, everybody. It's just 8 o'clock, and I made a kind of little vow because my body can't stand yet sitting for very long due to this recovery from my surgery. So I appreciate so much your patience with me. You know me, I like to read and read and read, and I can read forever. But this I have to do for recovery purposes. And also tomorrow I have to sit for 2 hours in the Zoom meeting of the RRP, which is also going to be a challenge. So thank you very much for coming every night and reading and hearing and commenting. And Sri Caitanya-caritämrta ki jai. Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Gaur Premanandi. Hari Hari Bol. Thank you very much, and see you tomorrow night. Same place, same station, same subject. Hare Krishna. See you tomorrow. Hari Bol.